The ayes to the right, 358. The noes to the left, 234.
The ayes to the right were 358. The noes to the left were 234. So the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Programme motion moved formally.
I beg to move.
The question is, as on the order paper...
Pretty clear and decisive there. The first major victory for Boris Johnson there, with the ayes having it, as you just heard the Speaker of the House of Commons there, putting through this bill, the withdrawal bill Boris Johnson has put through. Well, let's return to our correspondent now to break down what this vote means. Vincent, as we were just hearing there, 358 votes for Boris Johnson. This is really unfamiliar territory for the Prime Minister, isn't it?
Yeah, it is unfamiliar territory for the Conservative Party over the past couple of years, but that is how British parliamentary democracy is meant to work. The Prime Minister is always meant to have a working majority in Parliament. You have a strong executive. Some criticise it as being too strong because the Prime Minister can effectively do whatever they want. But Boris Johnson now, this will be the path that he's on. Everything that he wants to get through will have this huge working majority. Yes, on some votes, people might disagree and they'll be whipped hard, but he is now basically going to get to do whatever he wants for the coming years. And, you know, one of those people in the chamber voting today is poor Theresa May, the former Prime Minister. She suffered the humiliation of having more losses in the House of Commons than her 5 predecessors combined. She, in fact, had the biggest loss a government had in the UK's history when it came to Brexit legislation with her version of the withdrawal agreement. But now she is in there voting for it, and all of her peers are now on board, and all of those new Conservative members. So for Boris Johnson, it is a very happy Christmas for him right now.
OK, Vincent McAviney, thank you for that. Let's now turn to Brussels, where we can speak to our correspondent, Elena Cavalloni, because EU leaders are hopeful that this vote will mark the opening of a much-awaited new phase of the Brexit negotiations. Well, let's speak to Elena right now. Elena, so what is the mood music like now in the Belgian capital? Is there much anticipation that finally, to quote the words of Boris Johnson, that people can get Brexit done?
Good afternoon. Well, getting a punchy quote from Brussels is always hard. But these last few days, Brussels in particular has been more than ever looking quietly to the UK to know what's the fate of Brexit. In Brussels, EU officials are confident that Boris Johnson can deliver the Brexit. And this gives a little bit of relief, at least because in the past years we have seen so many delays that turned into a sense of fatigue from also the European side and among European capitals. The EU leaders have been very clear on their position. They wish that the withdrawal agreement is ratified as soon as possible. But on the other hand, if Brexit seems closer than ever, on the other hand, the European Parliament is trying to make its voice heard. Brexit coordinator Guy Verhofstadt said that the MEPs will not vote a withdrawal agreement if the citizens' right issue is not fully solved.
Elena, so is it fair to say that given the circumstances and how they've changed so dramatically in the last week, that EU officials are looking forward to these lengthy trade negotiations now with renewed vigour?
Well, the European Commission is already looking at the next steps for the relationship between the EU and the UK. And this week, Ursula von der Leyen warned that the transition period of 1 year is a very tight time to reach a trade deal between the UK and the EU, and urged to make the most of this short time. She also said that the negotiations will have to continue after 2020, as there are sectors like aviation that still need to be settled, and there is also the issue of environmental standards that might represent an hurdle. So she knows that the path for negotiation won't be easy, and she called the UK for a transparent playfield, maybe a caveat to Boris Johnson, who intends to make Brexit harder. Back to you.